Welcome to the Backyard Show. I'm Caleb, and my co-host is James. And this week, I sat down with Male Tears in a Denny's parking lot to discuss his influences, a song he wished he wrote, and his beauty routine. You can listen to Male Tears wherever you stream music. And now, let's get into the show. I think we should start with a easy peasy question. Where did the name Male Tears come from?
I think for a long time I was operating under a different name, but I just felt like it wasn't really I just feel like it didn't capture what I was trying to do, and I think that I do a lot of whining in my music, so I felt like it was definitely just, it sounded pretty to me. Like a lot of people tell me that it's kind of they assume it's some kind of joke thing or feminist thing or whatever, but it's really just because I think it sounds pretty. It sounds like a synth pop band, It sounds like something like that.
It definitely does. What names did you have before that?
Before that, directly before that, I was going under Space Daddy, but that was just not. That was less than a year. That was a few months.
So that's
working.
Available now. I could steal that.
Yeah, you can take that. You can also take Flores if you wanted, but because too many people thought that was my last name or something, which it's not. So I was like, okay, I need something that sounds a little bit more universal, I guess,
Is there a band that made you fall in love with music and made you want to make music?
Oh, God. I mean, I'm not sure if it's a specific band that made me want to do that, but I think it's just the sound of electronic music. Ever since I was a little kid, I always thought it was hard to really put your finger on what exactly you were listening to. It wasn't until I was much older that I understood how music was made. But as a kid, I thought that was you know what it is? It's probably because I think Ghostbusters. I think I saw Ghostbusters on VHS when I was probably 5 or something, and the score of that, those odd kind of Gary Newman style string synths or whatever that are in there, the as a kid. In my head, I just associated that sound with stuff that's paranormal, I guess, because of that. So I was this is the sound of otherworldly music, So that's really what, I don't know, even before I made music, I always thought this is exactly the kind of shit that I'm gonna do. It's exactly what I'm gonna end up making myself. So I'm happy. It's turned out the way that I always thought it would.
So it was always more electronic music that influenced you, not a specific band, but just the electronic stuff?
Yeah, but I'd say more specifically, it's beyond electronic stuff, because I don't really listen to EDM or stuff that's cutting edge. I just like the fact that people use the sounds of electronic music to make pop music, because that's really what it is. As a kid, I heard so much disco and those one-hit wonder big songs from the 80s, and that's pretty much the real influence is just catchiness, catchy hooks, especially since in Sega Genesis OSTs, the old soundtracks from Sega Genesis games, those are very nice rigid chunky synth tones, that I really like those. The Sonic 2 OST is really banging. There's a lot of synths in there that I still wonder how they do that and how I could recreate that in the future, maybe one day.
Are you using actual physical synths, or are you using soft synths?
Sometimes it just depends what kind of sound I'm looking for. Sometimes it's software, and it's just software, It depends on how easy it is. But sometimes the software is not doing what I want it to, and there's a lot of manual real-time knob tweaking that you got to do, to get a specific thing going. So I record that manually. It's just a mix of things,
So you're talking you'll have it on your computer and then you'll do MIDI knob turning effects, filter cutoffs?
I mean, I could do that. I could do it this way, but I do have hardware synths that I would rather do that with. So I do that,
What synths do you have?
I have you know what? I'm just not gonna say, because I will say that I have 2 Behringers and a Roland that I use religiously, but the problem is that I feel like a little too much when it comes to electronic music. I feel like the credit goes a little bit too much towards like what tools are made or are used to like use the synthesizer or to make the music, because like I don't know, I feel like the way that people have always treated guitars in like pop culture, where it's like the end all be all, like, you know, like wow, like that a guy holding a guitar, that looks so cool. I feel like a lot of people in synthwave try and do that with synthesizers, like they like fetishize like a synthesizer and like attribute all the success of a person to it, you know. I think it's just a tool, you know, like I don't hold them in high regard. Eventually maybe I'll abandon it altogether and I'll pick up like an indie rock format, you know. It just depends it depends on what I want to put out in the world, you know. But yeah, I mean, like, instruments are just tools. They're just inanimate objects, you know, a means to an end.
Then I'm curious on your take for this, because we have a segment on the show, Dream Gear, where it's just obviously what are pieces of dream gear for you. Let's cue up the Dream Gear music though.
It's time for Dream Gear.
What is your dream gear?
I guess a DX7, you know, a Yamaha DX7, just purely for the aesthetic reasons that it looks really nice and it's a retro style synth and it's got all these sounds on it. But like, knowing me, I probably would never use it and I would let it collect dust and rust. I would buy it for a lot of money. I would take pictures of it and post it on Facebook groups, you know, just to say, like, I don't dust or use this thing ever, and watch the boomers get mad and mauled in the chat. Yeah, I mean, like, look at that nice little prop that I've got in my music videos that I'm not using at all for anything. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because, like, sometimes I tell people, like, hey, like, I do use hardware when I really don't. And they say, yeah, I can tell. The synth sounds so warm and analog. And I'm like, it's all digital,
it's like
fool.
Suckers.
Like, this is a sucker. I used the same studio Depeche Mode was using in '88. Yeah, like, I don't know. But beyond that, you know, I also want those, like, skinny little microphones that they used to have on top of the pops, you know, like the rod ones.
With, like, the big...
Yeah,
bubble diaphragm.
Like the old school karaoke looking microphones, just because like aesthetically it looks nice too, you know. There's like a lot of things that I'm just like, that looks nice, but as long as it turns on, I'm sure you can make like any kind of sound you want out of anything, you know. So the gear that you want is more for aesthetics rather than actual purpose, or? Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, 100%, yeah. Yeah, because like any music is achievable now, you know.
Yeah, with computers.
Yeah, I don't have to like dream for a specific like piece of gear, you know, like whatever I want to make, I can make, but it is for aesthetic purposes. And just like how a lot of people that collect vinyl, it's for aesthetic purposes.
What about, we don't have to go too much into like the name and the gear and stuff, but you definitely have a sound that is authentic to a specific period. And I'm just curious how you replicate that in the box digitally. Like what?
Oh, well, because like back in the day, they would use just like a lot of like, I mean, the pop bands from like the 80s that I'm like actually like inspired by, like they were not like musical virtuosos. They were not like people that like understood the in and outs of like the synthesizer and stuff like that. Like they were really just people that were trying to make pop hits, you know, and a lot of the time they were using like presets and like default sounds, you know. And that's why like there's like very specific sounds that like that sounds 80s, that doesn't. It's because they were using a specific preset. So like because of that, it's so easy to replicate those things. Like you just download like a free sample pack and you probably have a bunch of like 80s like chimes. You got the tubular bells. You probably got like your chunky like gated drum preset or something. And really like to get an old sound, what really made those things sound old was just that, like the production techniques that they had like back in the day. Like, you know, everything was just slathered with like reverb and delay and chorus effects, you know. And as long as I think if you apply those things correctly, then like you can make anything sound retro, I think. You know, it's a matter of mixing.
So then are you doing all the mixing and recording for your stuff?
Yeah, it's all being done in-house. Yeah, that's the last thing I would let someone handle is the mixing, just because like I'm so particular on it. And sometimes people like really, really want me to like apply a lot less like reverb and stuff like that, but I'm like, that's the mistake. If I do that, then it's gonna sound a lot less retro, you know. And I'm trying to make a period piece, you know. So
are you?
Yeah, it is like a period piece. I'm just trying to make it something that's like as authentic as possible. Like that's just what I like, you know.
Let's go into that, because like we were having a discussion a couple weeks ago with a past guest about how we kind of get offended sometimes when people compare us to other artists, but it sounds like you kind of are trying to do that, or you wear your influences on your sleeve. Is that
I
true?
really do. Yeah. I mean, I really do. But like, it's not like it's not like I want to be compared as much as I want to blend in. You know, like I think that that's really the goal, is just to like eventually come up with stuff where like if someone heard it, like they wouldn't know the difference between that and something from back in the day. Like I eventually want to craft myself to the point where I can actually like fool someone into thinking that it's just some obscure song from back in the day, you know?
Do you go into like a 80s headspace when you're writing songs? Like how do you approach that? Like everything from, because it's so authentic, your music, the drum machines, the drum fills, the synth patches, even your vocal delivery. How do you get into that mind space and get that accurately?
It's I guess it just comes naturally. Like that's my default, you know. Like those are the terms that I think of in like when it comes to music. I guess that's a little limited, you know. But like I wouldn't know where to start when like writing a song that sounds modern, you know. Like I'm not like, I know I have my finger on the pulse of a lot of like modern stuff, you know. Like I really like hyperpop and stuff like that, and like I like a lot of industrial music and like the current day hip hop and stuff. Like I like youth music, but like when it comes to writing, like I think just things come out the way that it's been ingrained in my head like since I was like a kid. Like when I was a kid, my favorite song was Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. I thought that was like the best song ever. Maybe I'm not wrong, maybe I wasn't wrong then, but like I just think there's like it was fruity music without like really understanding what it was. It was completely unaware. Like I think that music back in the day was very unself-aware, and like that's like something I want to capture. I guess it's just like a childlike way of looking at things, you know, because like I don't think I say anything explicit really.
So you were saying how the newer music you listen to is hyperpop, and that's still very electronic. Is there anything that you pull from that's not 80s and not electronic, maybe something more acoustic, or I don't know, more indie rock? Or
Oh yeah, I mean I love a lot of indie rock music. That was like my high school coming of age music, you know. I guess as much as I, you know, the thing is that like it's really easy to just like take influence from something and like not carry like everything that it originated from with you. So like sometimes like I am totally influenced by something that's like the Strokes or something, but when it comes to me, like if I were to cover a Strokes song, it would probably end up sounding like maybe it was the original that the Strokes covered, you know. Like I think like eventually things are just gonna like bend and sound kind of like they're retro anyway. Just maybe that's just my taste, you know. Like I don't really like the sound of acoustic drums without any like reverb on them. Like I think that like vocals when they're like very bare in the mix, like I feel like it's a little too invasive, you know. It's like coming a little bit too close in my space or whatever. Like I like things to sound spacious and separate, you know. So I think when it comes to modern day stuff like that, like maybe I'll probably totally rip off like a vocal line or something, but like who's gonna be able to tell? Like by the time that it's like actually employed into like a different song, like it's so mutated from where it originally came, you know. Like I think like influence can come from anywhere, you know.
Yeah. So you were saying the Strokes influences you, but like in what way? How does that influence like your lyrics? What?
No, I think like definitely not lyrics, because like lyrics to me are like a necessary evil, you know. Like they're the thing that you have to. If I could just be like the Cocteau twins, like the Coteau twins, and just like say like nothing really, or maybe just like very limited English and maybe different languages and stuff, I probably would. But like I feel like it's like I'm always trying to like put a little pizzazz into like what I'm trying to do, and like when it comes to like lyrics and stuff like that, like it's funny. It comes out really mixed up. But when it comes to the Strokes, I think Julian Casablancas is a wonderful singer. I think that like he's what I would call like a dog singer, you know. Like he's got like the voice of a dog, and I like it a lot, you know. there's like a gruffness in it that I felt like was like missing in a lot of like other rock bands, especially of the indie variety. I think they're like the direct descendants of stuff like Joy Division or like Wire or Magazine. Like I feel like they're probably like the direct thing that came after grunge. It's like post grunge, but maybe not. Like I like stuff like that. Like it's a really dirty sound too, especially the first album, Is This It? I remember I would hear that on repeat over and over again. That's great.
How long does it take you to write lyrics?
To write lyrics?
Yeah.
Oh man, those will come like really quickly. I feel like because like whatever I'm trying to say in a song is like, so I mean the song is gonna be like 3 minutes, you know, so like whatever it is I gotta say, it's there. It's more than anything to me, it's like the what takes the longest besides lyrics is actually like making the lyrics fit with like how I want to sing it, because I feel like that's the more important thing. Like I'd rather sing some nonsense but the vocal take sounds like really passionate rather than like saying a lot of wordy like meaningful stuff that just kind of doesn't sound that rhythmic.
So then you're not writing the lyrics to the music, you're just writing lyrics and then trying to craft it into a melody?
It's more like I'm writing a song and all the elements are coming together at once, but when it comes to like writing vocals over it, it's usually just a lot of gibberish first, you know, a lot of like nothing. Sometimes I'm just saying words that like kind of rhyme, and then later I'll fill in the blanks with like some lyrics that like make sense with it, you know.
How long does a song usually take?
That really depends. Sometimes it can be like a couple weeks, you know, depending, like whenever I have like the time and the motivation to do that, because like motivation is really hard to come by. But like when it's like just the right hour of the early morning, you know, I might be able to just get the entire thing done all together, you know, like within a few hours. And then from there on, and once it's all composed and recorded, it's just like weeks of mixing. So like recording and like writing a song really quickly, like within a day, but it's just like the mixing process that takes forever. Yeah.
Let's maybe you could give us an example for Future X. Can you walk me through just start to finish how that came along?
Sure. So for Future X, I think I was listening to a lot of like old disco electronic groups like Taps and Divine and the Flirts, things like that, like just like high energy Italo disco, like Dead or Alive. And like I felt like that was like a song that was missing from the album, you know. Like I feel like at the end of the day I want like the album to like have like a bunch of like a variety pack, you know. Like I want to have the cigarettes, I want to have the weed and the booze, you know. Like I don't want to just have an album of just booze or just cigarettes, you know. There has to be like all of the things to make a good time. So like I felt like I didn't have like the banger, I didn't have like the dance song, you know,
the hit.
So like, yeah, that's the one that they'd play at the goth club or something. And so like I wanted to write that, and the most important thing is to avoid basically like from the very beginning I wanted to write a song like that does not sound anything like Blue Monday, because that's like the big pitfall, you know. Like that's like what that whole genre needs to avoid, is to like avoid sounding anything like Blue Monday, because I feel like it creeps up. Like even in modern songs I'm like, wait a minute, this bass line like hold on. So like that was the big thing, but I'm sure there's a bunch of things that I sound similar to even that song. By the end of it, the last thing that I applied to it were these vocoder samples from Sonic CD. Like there's like this Sonic game, like there's a part where like you hit a check mark and it sends you to the past or to the future of the level, and then it gives you like a past future, like, so like I just took that from Sonic CD and I put it in there.
Oh wow.
So that was probably the finishing touch, but like I knew that I was like, all right, this one's it, this is the one. And so like I was like pretty happy. It might have been like one of the last 3 songs that I finished.
Because you said that you wanted to write like the hit or a specific song that you were trying to make. Do you have that ability to where like you know a song that you want to make and you could just do that first try, or how many times did it take you to finally get that done?
Typically, no. I mean, like I know if a song's gonna be a dud, like within the first few stages. Like I'm just like, when in its demo stage, I'm like, oh, I can tell this one's a sagger. It's not whatever. It's missing something. There's like at its core, at its core something's off, you know? So I just like abandon those. But like when I feel like I've got like a bait, like when I've got a bite on the bait, like I just want to like do everything I can for it to like eventually get crafted into something that I really like. Every song, like I don't write songs in terms of like what's a single and what's a B-side or a deep cut. Like I only write singles. I feel like every song I write is meant to be a single, or it can be, you know.
They're all hits.
Yeah, they're all meant to be hits of some sort, you know. That's probably why I just kept making music videos, like just because I was like, yeah, they're not singles, but like every song deserves like its own little party thing going on.
Speaking of music videos, so we have my co-host James, another James. He is missing from today's episode, but he has a question, so we're going to make it into a segment called James's Question, and the music is going to be done by Friends Don't Die. So shout out Friends Don't Die.
Shout out Friends Don't Die.
Cue up the music.
James has a question. James has a question.
All right, so James asked, how do you come up with the concept of your music videos?
Oh. Well, I mean, like, it usually starts with, like, what do I want to look like in this one? And then it becomes, what do I want the background to be in the setting? Because, like, there's no real narratives to anything to, like, my music videos. Like, there's no narrative. Like, as much as, like, my old director wanted there to be, like, some kind of, like, narrative happening, like, I feel like that's not how they used to do it back in the day. They would stick the band in front of a green screen and they would like unleash a bunch of like just gimmickry and like just like nonsense, you know. It was like more like, you know, music videos were something that you'd see maybe once or twice on MTV and then like forget about it, you know. Like they weren't like exactly something that was meant to be seen over and over again. So like to me, I think like I think of music videos almost like TikToks in a way, where it's like just like, oh, look at this, oh, it's gone, all right, don't think about it too much, you know. It's nothing too deep. Most of the time I just want it to be like colorful and like almost attention grabby in a way, like where it's just firing off on all cylinders, trying to like present to you like this image and now this image, and like just trying to, like everything it can to hold your attention. So I think that's like that's the whole like the ethos of like how I get videos done, you know.
So that's all done after the fact, or while you're recording? Are you like seeing like specific, I don't know, like colors, or do you have certain plots?
Yeah, definitely. Like there are some songs where like in my head as I'm doing them, as I'm writing them or mixing them, I'm like, this is a dark song, this is a happy song, this is a dance song, this is like a more somber song, you know.
What about like give us an example, maybe the Chained in Love one.
Like which one?
Chained Up in Love, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like that one was a bright song, probably because I was listening to like a whole lot of Thompson Twins and like Haircut 100 and stuff like that. Like just like that early new wave stuff, like that was just, yeah, that's a bright song, like definitely. Like when I made that one, like I think I was like that was still like maybe like one of the first few that I made for this record. And like it's crazy because the first few songs were going in a pretty positive direction, and then the last 5 like just kind of caved into like this like esoteric like kinky stuff, you know. It's like that, you know. Like I think every song has its own character, you know. Like that's why like I would never wear the same outfit in any music video. Like like I'm just trying to get into character for each like thing, you know. Like it all has its own vibe.
So is that like, because you're going into character for these songs, do you think of Male Tears kind of as an alter ego for you?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because like I mean like every day I try and live as inconspicuously as possible. Like I love to be a fly on the wall that like has like no eyes on them whatsoever. I like to blend into a crowd, you know, and that keeps me completely like out of the eye of like people. However, on the internet, like nobody's real, and I feel like you can totally just become a persona and like let that represent you like an avatar, you know. It's almost like I feel like I just embody an avatar in like World of Warcraft or something, and this is like when I'm like piloting a mech.
Is there is there a struggle then when you, like, because right now you're going to play a show in a couple hours afterwards, going from like your persona online, do you get nervous maybe when you see the actual people in front of you?
When I actually see the people in front of me?
Yeah.
No, by then it's already too late. It's already too late. At that point, like, I'm already in character. I don't think anyone knows who I really am. And I mean, it doesn't matter at that point. Like, I'm completely someone else, you know, like my reputation completely is out of, like, it doesn't really matter, you know, because like I'll be out of there like a ghost, you know. Yeah, probably once I'm out of costume, if I'm still at the party, like everyone ceases to recognize who I even am.
Wow.
Yeah. Nobody cared until I put on the mask.
So we mentioned you wear makeup. Can you drop the beauty routine?
Oh, I mean, it's nothing, dude. Like, a lot of, like, it's just smearing it. Like, I don't know anything about makeup. I just really started playing around with it, you know, and I don't know. I wear it like a hair metal band, I guess, you know, more than anything. Like, I don't think I'm very good at it. Like, I'm not very artistic when it comes to that stuff. It's more of just like, you know, I'm just trying to, more than anything, it's about obscuring my face. It's about like obscuring like what I look like in a normal situation, you know. Is there
a person that you try to, or that shapes your look, your makeup look?
No, not anything in particular, but I get so many accusations though. Like, a lot of people accuse me of like purposefully trying to look like specific people, you know. And I mean, that's not, it's not subconsciously true. Like, I'm not actively trying to do that. But, like, I mean, it is a big compliment, you know, especially when, like, it's just funny, like, some bands, like, accuse me of, like, trying to be Robert Smith, you know, and, I mean, that's funny, because, I mean, like, a lot of these, like, local rock groups that, like, say that, they look like they're just trying to be the next Nirvana or something, you know, which I think is, like, really laughable, you know, that's even more out of the question, all right, so there's that.
So, let's do another segment. We're full of segments today. Song you wish you wrote. Let's cue up the music.
Damn.
All right. You could do 2 songs, 3 songs, however many you want.
Yeah, songs I wish I wrote. Man, I wish I wrote that song, One Kiss, by Dua Lipa and Calvin Harris, you know?
Oh,
like,
wow.
One kiss is all it takes. Like, I think that song is, like, it's honestly, like, one of the best pop songs in the last few years. Like, there's, like, something about it that makes me think, like, holy shit, this was, like, this is also a period piece. It's a period piece of the 90s, you know, because, like, I grew up in, like, the late 90s, you know, and, like, my dad was a DJ in the 80s, so, like, he just kept up with, like, current dance music, you know, like when it wasn't, like, 80s, like, Italo disco or freestyle, it became, like, trance and, like, house and stuff like that, like, and Euro disco and stuff, and Euro dance and Euro pop, so, like, that is a song where I'm just like, that is well performed, it's well written, I like everything about it, I think it's perfect. I also really like the song, I think the song, If You Leave by OMD is like a beautiful song, you know? Like, there's a reason why it just won't fucking die. Like, there's a reason why it won't go away. And, oh my god, and also like, West End Girls by Pet Shop Boys, holy shit, like, I mean, those white boys had soul, dude. Like, they were, like, rapping and hip-hopping, you know? Like, I thought that song is, like, it's probably one of the best. Like, I don't get mad when I hear it when I walk into Target, you know?
Those are great ones. So, I've got one more question for you. This is like a debate. I honestly don't really understand the debate because they're 2 different bands. Well, obviously, 80s. I wanted your take on it. Cure or The Smith? You saw that one coming?
I was like, wait. I think it's a silly debate, you know. I think they're so different. People like really want to pit them against each other. I know that like the two, I know that Robert and Morrissey like had like a little bit of a feud, but that was like in the 80s when they were like young men, you know. I don't think they have thought about it recently. I don't think anyone cares except the teenagers that still obsess over it, you know. I think it's cute that people still give a shit like that, you know, and they really, really try and like make out Morrissey to be like the bad guy in every situation. I just think like it's a good thing that I like both the bands dearly. I love them both. Obviously, The Cure is like my favorite band though, like, and that's undeniable. But like, gee, like, I mean, like, it's like they're old men, they're boomers, let it go, you know. And like, and good for Robert Smith for like keeping out of the public eye, you know. He like collects the bag. He collects the bag, he like straightens up his weave, and he's out, you know, like he's good. Like he secured the bag and he's out, like he doesn't give a shit enough. He's not like Morrissey who got mad like at The Simpsons or anything, you know, which I thought was cute. I thought it was a cute episode, but whatever.
Well, I love your take on that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on to the Backyard Show.
Oh,
Denny's
I love this
Parking
yard.
Lot
Yes.
edition.
The pools over there, the swings over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Love the trees. Hell yeah. Thanks for having me in this backyard.
There's a taco man across
Taco
the
truck
street.
right there. The freeway just up ahead. Looks great.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Caleb.
Again, you can listen to Male Tears wherever you stream music. And go to our website, www.thebackyardshowpodcast.com, to check out the playlists that he curated just for you. Thank you for listening. This has been The Backyard Show.